Namaskar, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss the next topic of the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. And the topic under consideration today is the packaging of genetic material. Now, packaging of genetic material could be well understood if we take into consideration the nucleosome model of chromosomes. Let me discuss that what I mean to say by the nucleosome model of chromosomes. Actually, in DNA, the distance between the two base pairs, as we have already discussed in the Watson and Crick's model of DNA, that the distance between the two base pairs as 0.34 nanometer, that is equal to 0.34 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meters. Length of DNA in a mammalian cell can be calculated by total number of base pairs with the distance between the two consecutive base pairs, that is 0.6 into 10 raised to power 9 base pairs into 0.34 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meters per base pair. By applying this formula, length DNA is in a mammalian cell will be about 2.2 meters. This length is even greater than the dimensions of the typical nucleus, which is somewhere around 10 raised to power minus 6 meters. In spite of all this, length polymer of DNA is packed inside the cell. A well-defined nucleus, however, is absent in prokaryotes, hence the nucleoid is formed, which is a negatively charged DNA and is associated with few positively charged proteins. So let us understand how the DNA is packed inside the nucleus. Now, my dear students, Woodcock has shown in the year 1973 has shown that the chromatin consists of repeating patterns of the bodies known as the nucleosomes. Nucleosomes are composed of DNA and the histone molecules. Though DNA molecules are very long, yet they are packed with the help of positively charged histone molecules into the smaller diameter. The fundamental packaging unit is known as the nucleosome. The nucleosome is a protein needs charge depending upon the abundance of the amino acid residues with charged side chains. Histones are rich in lysine and arginine amino acid residues. These amino acids carry positive charge in the side chains. Now, these under the electron microscope, most of the chromatin is seen as a fiber with 30 nanometers after about having the diameter of about 30 nanometers. The basic form of the chromatin packed is commonly known as 30 nanometer chromatin fiber. Though the DNA molecules are very long, yet they are packed with the help of histones into smaller diameters. This fundamental packing unit is known as the nucleosome. Now let us see how this is packed. The nucleosome gives the chromatin its beaded appearance like this. This is the beaded appearance it gives in the and it is seen in the beads on as a beads on a string, and it is seen under the electron microscope. Nucleosome beads appear as disc-shaped particles with a diameter of about 11 nanometer. Each nucleosome bead consists of 8 histone molecules. These are the histone molecules. 4 are seen in the front and 4 are on the back. These are the histone molecules, and this is known as the octamer copies. Each of these is a highly conserved uh, nucleosome histones, and these are highly alkaline proteins found in eukaryotic cell nuclei that are packaged and order of DNA into smaller units to which we call as the nucleosome. These are H2A, H2B, H3, H4 and are 2 in number each one. That is, these are the various types of the histones as you can see here. And now these histones form a protein core around which the double-stranded DNA fragment, which consists of about 146 loose long pairs, is wound. The histone octamer is also known as the nu or V8 body. Each histone molecule has two parts, uncharged hydrophobic region and charged region having basic amino acids. Now, DNA is wrapped around the histone octamer of the nucleosome of the spherical helix of the high order state forming the 1.75 turns. It forms about one complete turn and other 3/4 turn, which comprises of 1.75 turns. DNA also extends as a continuous thread from nucleosome to nucleosome. You can see this DNA is wound around the nucleosome, which forms about 1.75 turn, and then it is extended here until it comes in contact with the next nucleosome. Now this extension, this extension, each nucleosome bead separates the from the next nucleosome and is called as the linker DNA. Plus the nucleosome bead constitutes the entire nucleosome, which therefore represents about 200 base pairs of the DNA. That is about 146 base pairs wrapped around the histone molecules around the octamer, which consists of two copies of four histone molecules, and along with the linker molecule it consists of the about 200 base pairs. This term nucleosome was actually given by P. Audit in 1975 for these repeating units which were visible under the electron microscope. Now, if someone asks you to what is nucleosome chemically, nucleosome is about 12.5 nanometers, which is equivalent to 200 base pairs, but plus two molecules of histones which are of four types. The histone proteins are of two types, the core protein and the linker protein. The core protein which around which the DNA is wrapped, and linker histones which constitutes from one nucleosome to another nucleosome. Histones are four in number: H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. Two of each of these are histone molecules assemble to form one octamer. The nucleosome core particles, they consist of about 146 to 147 pairs and form the core molecule. Now, after the histone molecules we have discussed, now we come to the next point, and where we can see that how the DNA condensation takes place from one step to the other during the various phases of the mitosis and especially during the interphase. You can see in this figure, the first figure is representing DNA, and from B to E, these stages, these are representing the chromatin in forming. The last stage is the DNA of the metaphase chromosome. The dimensions here, written here, they indicate known sizes of the intermediates, but the detailed structures are actually hypothetical and they are only based on the studies as we have done in the electron under the electron microscope. So after the study of these various condensation stages of DNA, we come to the point that where we can discuss these nucleosome, how they form the chromatin. Now, first let us talk about the nuclear chromatin, which is also called as the nuclear reticulum, is actually a darkly stained network of long and fine threads called as the chromatin fibers, which are suspended in the nucleoplasm of the interphase nucleus, and it was first reported by W. Fleming in the year 1879. Now, what is heterochromatin? Heterochromatin is formed of condensed regions about 250 angstroms in diameter. That is, as you can see in this figure, there are certain condensed region and certain regions which are loosely arranged. Here the DNA is condensed and again the loosely arranged. When these condensed regions are taken into consideration, these are known as the heterochromatin, called as the heteropyknosis, as is with the condensed DNA, which is transcriptionally actually considered to be inactive. Little or no RNA synthesis takes place in these regions, and late replicating replicates after the replication of the rest of the DNA has taken place. Now, it is less sensitive to mutations and resistant to nuclease digestion. Now, here you can see in the figure, we have shown that the heterochromatis is again consisted of the two types depending upon its ability to function for the transcription, and the two forms are constitutive heterochromatin and the facultative heterochromatin. Now, what is this facultative and uh, constitutive heterochromatin we shall be discussing? So first let us discuss about the facultative heterochromatin. It represents, as I have written here, it may convert to euchromatin depending upon the requirement. What it means? That it represents the temporarily inactivated chromatin during interphase in some cell types of an organism. The amount of facultative heterochromatin, it varies widely in different cell types and depends upon the stage of differentiation. For example, less in amount in embryonic or undifferentiated cells, while more in amount in highly specialized cells. It forms about 2.5% of the genome. It represents the inactive genes at a particular period whose products are not required at that particular time. In somatic cells of female of mammals, one of the two X chromosomes is facultative heterochromatized to form sex chromatin or the Bohr body, and that is the example of the facultative heterochromatin. The next is the constitutive heterochromatin. In contrast to facultative, it remains always heterochromatin. Let me explain it. It represents the permanently inactivated chromatin and is generally found near the centromeric regions, telomeres, and in nucleolar organizer regions and adjacent to the nuclear envelope. It probably increases the centromeric strength and acts as a spacer between the vital genes and acts as a full stop of the transcription. So, the role of this constitutive heterochromatis cannot be underestimated. The centromeric heterochromatis helps in recognition and association of the homologous chromosomes during meiosis. During interphase, these regions of constitutive heterochromatin aggregate and form chromocenter. Now, the example, as I have told you, these are the centromeric heterochromatin, telomeric and retrotransposons, that is class 1 transposons. Now, the heterochromatin, no doubt, is divided into facultative and constitutive. And what about the rest of the chromatin? This is called as the euchromatin region. This is heterochromatin, this is heterochromatin, this is heterochromatin, which could be facultative, which could be constitutive. And the rest of the regions, this one and this one. This is the euchromatin. Let us discuss this euchromatin. Now, Euchromatin and heterochromatin, as we have discussed, these are tightly, compactly arranged regions. This ones, which could get converted into euchromatin when they are called as the facultative, or they could remain throughout the life of the chromosome as the heterochromatin, that is least active regions of the chromosome. In contrast to this, the rest of the regions, which is called as the euchromatin, is a true chromatin of the interphase nucleus and is formed of the thin, that is about 30 to 80 angstroms in diameter, less darkly strained than heterochromatin. It is with loose DNA which is transcriptionally active and early replicating during the S phase. It forms the most of the nuclear chromatin. It also differs from heterochromatin in their nucleosomal packaging. The chromatin fibers give beaded appearance due to the presence of dense structures of DNA and proteins, and those regions they are called as the chromomeres. During cell division, these chromatin fibers condense by spiralization and dehydration in the form of the rods, to which actually we call the chromosomes. To explain my point in a little more detail, I will show you this figure. Here you can see how does the packaging takes place to give the final shape of the chromosome. This is the double helical DNA, whose structure we have discussed in the last lecture as the Watson and Crick's model of DNA. Since its length is very long, along with the histone molecules, it forms the nucleosomes, which are supercoiled. These nucleosomes get supercoiled to form these coiled appearance, and then again coiled, and this more condensation forms this rod shaped chromosome. So condensation at various level increases the thickness of the DNA molecule along with the histone molecules. Finally, we get the structures to which we call the chromosomes due to coiling and the supercoiling. Now, this is very important that this constitutes the nuclear chromatin, and it is very important since nuclear chromatin fibers contain DNA, which acts as a genetic material. They control the synthesis of structural as well as enzymatic proteins. Changes in DNA produce variations which help in the evolution. So this is all about the packaging of the DNA, and which might have helped you to understand how the double-stranded helical DNA gets coiled due to the presence of the histone molecules to form the nucleosome, and further coiling and supercoiling of the these nucleosomes gives the result in the formation of the final structure, to which we call the chromosomes, and the chromosomes they act as the nuclear chromatin. That's all for today. Thank you very much. I hope you have understand this concept of packaging of genetic material. In case of any query, you can leave uh, any question at my email, or you can call me. That's all for today. Thank you very much.